This is going to be a special kind of video. I'm going to pretty much give you an over-the-shoulder access to see how I designed this shirt after FSU won the national championship game. It's a pretty basic design, which I just made a variation of out of other things I saw online. And without using any ads, I was able to sell over 50 of these by using the techniques in this course. Now, the purpose of this video is to show you that you don't have to be a super talented designer to come up with a cool design. You just have to know how to research online and be able to find other designs that you could take inspiration from and make variations of. To do stuff like this, you will have to be a little bit familiar with programs like Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, which might be a little bit too much for some people, but if you really want to have some success on Teespring, you should invest some time and learn the basics of these programs. In the long run, it's going to save you a whole bunch of time because you won't have to be waiting on a designer on Odesk or Fiverr or whatever. And you'll be able to capitalize off trends by being able to quickly design a shirt. Like I said, I designed this shirt in about 20 minutes or so. So the first thing I did was I went to Google and I searched for banner vector. I knew that I wanted to make something with the banner since this shirt is supposed to make a statement about being the national champions. So as I started to browse around, I tried to look for something cool that I could copy and write national champions on. These look cool, but it's not exactly what I wanted. So then I remembered that the logo for the BCS Championship game kind of looks like a banner, so I'm gonna go look for it. And as you can see it right here, it's kind of a banner on its own. So I'm gonna use that as a base for my design. I'm gonna copy it and then open up Adobe Illustrator and paste it into a new document. Now, Illustrator has a feature where you could trace an image and turn it into a vector. It kind of takes some getting used to mess around with the settings, but this is a super easy way to copy a designs that you see online without too much effort. After I get the settings right and the banner portion of the logo looks good, I'm gonna just click on expand on the top and it's gonna turn it into a vector. Now, all I have to do is just start to delete everything that I don't need. I'm gonna fast forward this part, but basically I'm just deleting everything that I don't need, such as the border and the letters inside of the banner. Once I'm left with only the banner, I'm gonna copy that, open up a new document in Adobe Photoshop, and paste it in there. Before I do that, I'm actually gonna change the color of the background to the color of the shirt that I want, which is gonna be a maroon shirt for FSU. So after I paste the banner, I just expand the size, and now I have my base for the design. So now I'm going to go back to Google to make sure that I'm using the correct colors for FSU. So I'm going to look for any official logo from FSU. Then I'm going to change the color of the banner to match the colors of the school. As you can see, I selected the gold color, and now I'm going to fill the banner with that color. The next step is to write national champions on the banner. I'm going to make sure it's in the center, and there you go. I'm going to change the font to a cool block letter font. But as you can see, since the banner curves, I also have to make the text curve. So what you have to do is click on this button up here to warp the text. You give it an arc and adjust the settings accordingly. That looks right. So I'm going to put it in the middle again. It still looks a little weird, so I'm going to add a stroke to the text to give it some more character. I don't like the way it looks with black, so I'm going to change it to the color of the shirt. The way it is right now, I'm using 4 colors for this design. I'm using black, gold, white, and maroon. As with any design, you want to use the least amount of colors as you can, because the more colors that you use, the more expensive it's going to be, especially on Teespring. So since the border of the text is the same color as the color of the shirt, I'm just going to do a little trick to make that part of the design see-through, so all you see is the color of the shirt and not the actual color of the font. Instead of using a stroke, I simply duplicate the text layer. I go up to filter, click on other, and then on minimum. This effect is going to expand the layer, so it's going to give the same appearance as the stroke under the real title. Then I'm going to just select that layer and delete that shape from all the other layers underneath, including the banner. What this does is it leaves what looks like a stroke around the original text, but it's not actually a stroke. It's just an empty part of the design, which lets the shirt material peek through. So now, as you can see, I'm only using 3 colors for the design instead of 4, but the design still has the same effect as before with the stroke around the national champions text. So now I'm just going to continue adding stuff to the design. I'm going to add the year. I'm going to change up the font. Make sure it looks good. Add an arc. And so far I think it's looking pretty good, but it's still missing something to make it pop. So since I'm out of ideas, I'm gonna hop back onto Google and see if I can find some more inspiration. I'm gonna look for FSU Championship shirts and see if I can find some cool designs. I couldn't find anything cool in the images, so I'm gonna just go back to the web results and click on the shopping. I see a few cool designs, but right off the bat, this design caught my eye. I really like the shape of the football over the text. So what I did is I just took a screenshot of that shape. I went back into Illustrator and I used the same image trace function as before. I didn't even have to mess around with the settings this time. It traced it perfectly. I just delete everything I don't need, copy the football, and add it onto my design. I change up the size to make it fit, and there you go. I just added another cool element onto my design. Now I'm gonna add the team name under the football and see how that looks. Now so far I think I'm getting pretty close to what I want, but I could probably still add something else to this to make it pop. So I'm thinking I could probably add a FSU tomahawk. So I'm gonna go back to Google and search for FSU tomahawk vector. Then I'm gonna click on images and see what kind of results I get. And browsing around, you can see some cool illustrations, but it's not exactly the kind of things I want. So instead of searching for FSU, I'm gonna just search for tomahawk alone. And then here I find one that I like. I'm going to throw that into Illustrator and use the same image trace technique. I mess around with the settings, and there you go. Just copy that over into Photoshop. Now I'm going to place this tomahawk next to the year. Instead of being black and white, I'm going to just change it so it's the color of the banner. Then I'm going to duplicate it and put it on the other side as well. This looks pretty cool, but I think the tomahawks would look even better if they had that same border that the national champions text has. So I'm going to use that same technique I used on the text to make the see-through border around it and apply it to the two tomahawks. So here's the final product. As you can see, when I take out the background, I'm only using 3 colors, and the background acts as the 4th color. So now all I have to do is just crop the image. Then I just take out the background and export it for Teespring. I go to launch a new campaign. Upload the image. And there you go. Here's a simple design I made by using elements from other designs and logos I found online. As simple as that. If we go back to the real campaign, you'll see that I've sold 53 of these so far. So if I put that into here and set the price, you can see that I've made over $500 already. Pretty cool, right? Well, let me know if you guys have any questions about this.